I love coffee. Here it goes down into my belly. Are we live? Okay. What's up, everybody? Hope you all are doing well this morning.
Good morning.
Got our wellness check. We're going to talk a little bit about stress today. We'll talk about a couple other things, mostly kind of centered around stress. We know we talked about this topic already a little bit in a previous one, but wanted to, where things are starting to kind of move forward and we're seeing changes happen with our day-to-day life again. We're moving out of the stresses of sitting at home or being confined at home or having to quarantine and all that kind of stuff. So now things are starting to open back up and we're moving back out. So we just kind of wanted to retouch this as far as what that looks like as far as from a stress management standpoint going forward. Maybe talk about some things, probably rehash some things that we've already talked about before, but never bad to revisit those. So just a couple reminders for you guys. 4:30 tonight, we've got work. It will only be up for 24 hours, so make sure that you check that out before 4 o'clock on Thursday. We have to take that down just because copyright reasons. So we get to have it up for 24 hours, so it's a good thing. So make sure you check that out.
Yeah, get it in while you can. Live is more fun. They've got some new songs tonight. It's going to be very high energy. So get on the dance floor.
And then tomorrow morning, 9:30, we will have In the Kitchen with Erica. A little bit different this time. I'm not making food for you, but for your puppers. So if you got any doggos, make sure that you tune in on that one because we got some pretty awesome dog treats. I got to try them. Well, I didn't get to try them. I didn't try them.
Oh, you tried yourself?
No. Monty, my dog, got to try them. So you should check those out because they're really good. But Erica's going to have that up for us at 9:30, so make sure to check that out tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Strength with Alana and Maria. They're going to be focusing lower body this time, right?
Those legs.
So we got that coming up. So make sure that you're tuning in. Make sure that you are commenting. Comment today, like, share on this post. So this counts as well. Tonight on work, tomorrow on strength. All of those posts you can get entered to win that Crock-Pot Instant Pot raffle. Yeah, cool. All right, so we'll dive on into it. So we're gonna have a new normal that's coming up, and we kind of want to retouch this topic just because stress management going forward. Maybe some of us have kind of hit that new norm for ourselves as far as what life looks like. I don't know, I've kind of enjoyed working from home and the way things have looked. There's been parts of it I haven't been too thrilled about, but other parts of it, trying to be positive about it. But now we're gonna have to shift again, right? We're gonna have to start shifting back into this. Okay, now we're going in at limited capacity, or now we're going into work, half on, half off. I've heard all kinds of different scenarios of how this is going to be playing out. Another great way to start causing some stress and trying to figure out this new normal. So basically, I'm going to keep my notes here. How do you feel about situations? As we move into this, we're going to be dealing with how people feel about the current global situation, how they handle that, how they respond to it, compliance versus non-compliance with what's going on, and what we're supposed to be doing, and all that kind of stuff. And regardless of where we're at and how we each individually feel about that, understanding that one of the best ways to avoid a lot of stress is just to understand that people do have different varying opinions on certain things and how they're going to approach it and how they feel about it. And just understanding that the only person that we have control of is ourselves and what we do. And then, if you have children or whoever is, within that vicinity, probably a little bit of control over what they do. But at the same time, you can only control yourself and what you're able to do. And so trying to keep in mind what you have control of, and I think Alana's going to talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, so something that, during this time is, so Carl mentioned that, something that we do have control over is our attitude. And so that's something we're going to kind of talk a little bit about later as well, but something that we can do now is kind of categorize our stressors and figuring out if it's important, if it's not important, if it's controllable or uncontrollable. So, with important or non-important, does it fall within something that you truly value? So is it something that, you have control over? Is it controllable or uncontrollable? So a stressor is only controllable if you can do something about it. So for example, learning to accept that we can't control everything during this time, especially for COVID. This has been a big step for a lot of us, I think, because we are so used to having control over what's going on, and this has really kind of have made us take a step back and really think about, okay, like this is out of our control. What can we control during this time? But we can control our attitudes. So that's something that we can kind of turn around and have an uplifting, positive attitude about it, and utilize that time that we do have to give our extra time towards things that we really do truly care about and that are important to us. So if it's important, if you feel like it's important, it is important to you. Like Carl said about opinions. There may be some things that we may not agree on with each other or like see the same value in, but that's okay. We all have different things that we value and that we take pride in. And I think that's important to understand it and respect too, that he mentioned that there might be something one way that you feel about the situation, someone may feel about it differently, and that's okay. Be open and understand that how you feel is truly important. So what's the word? Like, don't kind of bury your feelings here in this. Really come to accept them and value that even more.
Because the current situation, as it is, I mean, it's been stressful throughout. It continues to be stressful going back. A lot of people, I mean, I know I've talked to people that are very stressed out about going back to work, given everything that's going on. And, whether or not people are going to follow the guidelines that have been given, and, what does that mean? It's like, and then ultimately it's like, okay, it's like, and it's so much easier said than done. It's like, you can sit here and stress about all these what if scenarios and what if this person doesn't do this. You are the only one that has control. I'm the only one that has control over what I do and how I react and how I do and go about my daily life and making sure that from a safety standpoint that I am being safe. I know that that's going to be a huge thing for a lot of people from a stress standpoint. I mean, if you get on social media, you can see it everywhere. As far as just people worrying, it's like, is this the right thing to do? Is this not the right thing to do? Is this the time? Are we going? All this different stuff. It's constant. And so just understanding that, really taking a moment, like, get off of social media. I realize we're on social media right now. Don't get off social media until we're done. But like getting off of social media, removing yourself from that, and all of these people. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen something and then I'll go to the comments section and I just it's been 5 minutes and I've been reading an argument between two people that I don't even know. It's like, and then I'm stressed out. It's like, okay, I probably need to put that down. Like, it's just, we all do it. I mean, I don't know, maybe another one does that. But
I think that's what's been hard during this time is that we've been relying on social media. We've been relying on our phones, all these connections to stay in touch with people. But then also it kind of taken back before COVID. We kind of saw social media as people being kind of a little too much addicted to it and stuff. And so now it's like we're relying on that content. But, we do kind of start to view things too long or watch things. And then, like you said, it starts to stress you out because, you're reading all these different things that are out there. And you don't know if they're true or not. And so you really have to find, a way to, listen to the facts. There was something I looked at about something that helps with stress relief, especially if people are, reading the news at that, 5 o'clock time or checking in different things throughout the day. But kind of keep it consistent. Like whether you check it in the morning or you check it in the evening, try not to check it 50 times a day, but just kind of be that one time a day consistent with it. That way you don't overwhelm yourself and stress yourself out even more with all the different things that are coming out. So I think having that kind of a consistent time, and I enjoy, just kind of watching or listening to some videos at night just kind of help me relax a little bit. Then I kind of set that limit, like, okay, like I'm ready to go to bed, or this is my time to catch up on what's going on in the world. But I'm gonna not look into that until like next time I have available versus stressing myself about what if or what could. So just kind of trying to take a step back and just get what we have, like choose to take action, but how can we manage the situation ourselves and if it's important and controllable. So we have control over that. So I'll let Carl kind of segue into us talking about kind of giving yourself a break a little bit during this time.
So, yeah, something me and Alana were talking about the other day as we were kind of preparing for this and talking about what exactly we're going to talk about. So, here soon, hopefully, we don't know when, but hopefully soon we are going to be moving, to a point where we're actually going to be able to start getting back into our fitness centers. We don't know when that is, but we hope that it's soon, right? Things seem to be moving that direction. So with that comes some new challenges and probably some new stresses. Again, keeping with the theme. And it's important that as we move into that, whether you're at TMK Fitness or you're at another fitness facility, give yourself some grace. Understand that unless you have a home gym and you've had access to a lot of stuff, you're probably not going to be as strong as you were when you left. You may have gained a little bit of weight because we've been sitting around, and I gained some weight. Like, I've been sitting around eating a little bit more, drinking a little bit more than I normally would. I'm not as active. Alana made a great point. It's like, even at our jobs day to day, even if you have a job where you're sitting for most of the day, you're still probably getting up and moving more than you are than if you're at home. And over these past weeks. So understanding that, you're probably not going to be as strong as you were when you left. You're probably not going to have as much stamina or endurance as you did from a cardio standpoint. Your nutrition maybe hasn't been great, right? Your activity level hasn't been as high. So give yourself some grace. Make sure that you don't go in. One of the biggest things that I've been trying to communicate to people too is don't try to go in at 100% that you left at. Like, I've had to tell myself that as well. It's a good way to get hurt. Making sure that you're keeping that in mind and knowing that you're not going to come back at 100%. And coming to us with questions, with concerns, letting us help you to move forward with that and to kind of put things in perspective, really. Because we're our own worst critics. We're our own worst enemy when it comes to that. Like, I personally am horrible about this. Like, man, I can't believe I didn't hit that lift, or I can't believe man, that mile felt rough. Like, I should not have. I went for a run the other day, and I was just like, man, like, that mile, like, that first mile was awful. Like, why am I so, like, out of breath? And just understanding that this has been a very odd period of time, that, your fitness is not going to be where it was when you left. If it is, that's great. Like, if you've been able to do that, kudos to you. But if you haven't been able to do that, give yourself some grace. That's the way that it is, and you get back to it. Use it as a way to kind of motivate yourself. Use it as a journey, then move through that. You can only improve.
And I think part of what I realized during this time too is because I've still been trying to be active and trying to do the best I can with what I'm able to do. That like you mentioned when you go out and run and stuff, and I felt that when I'm out doing stuff, especially the runs, I feel like I'm just like, this should, it doesn't feel like it should be that as hard as it is. But part of it is too, like, the timing of the way you're working out is different than when it normally is. You kind of have to adjust your schedule based on what you're doing for work and things like that. I'm not really a morning person, but during this time, I've actually kind of transitioned into getting up earlier than I ever did for my work schedule, how it was. So my body's kind of changed a little bit based on that scheduling, and our projects and things that we're working on has made me kind of shift that a little bit. So my workouts are going to look a little different like that during that time too. I mean, I know there's even studies out there that sometimes during certain parts during the day, if you're on a normal schedule, sometimes around 2 or 3 o'clock is when you kind of start to, like, your energy kind of starts to slow down, and you kind of have to give yourself a little bit of boost again. So I think it's really natural to realize that this has been a different time, and there's a lot of things that's out of our control. We get a chance to work out or move when we can, and just do the best you can, but realize that it's gonna feel different for everybody. Like, I know I've struggled with just how, like, going outside run, like, this doesn't feel as great as it should, but when I get back in there, I'm gonna be really excited because it's gonna be different. It's gonna feel great, and you'll have a new kind of motivation, a new kind of ignite the fire, so to speak. Because you'll be kind of extra motivated. I even listened to a podcast that kind of talked about kind of using this time to kind of work on, things that you don't typically get to work on when you're at the gym. And I don't mean for this to kind of be an active portion of stress, but something that I kind of always would kind of put on the back burner a little bit is like core work and flexibility and mobility. And especially with if you're a weightlifter and you're all these different things that you're involved in, your body needs some recovery. Your body needs to get that rejuvenation, and this time is kind of a great opportunity that I've tried to use to work on those things that I kind of skip out on those because I only have this much time to be at the gym. Now I can kind of add those things in a little bit more. I feel like this is important. This is something that I should be adding in more regularly. Let me try to adjust that and work on this before I go back. That way I can make sure I include that in there. So it's an opportunity for us to set new goals and to kind of reignite that motivation. I've talked to some of my clients, and everyone's kind of at a different place with it. If they're kind of excited to get back in there, or even if when we do open, what that's going to look like, if they're going to want to come back right away or not. And I think I've seen a lot of different sides to it, and you kind of have to figure out what's best for you. But so far for those people that are excited, they're like, I'm really motivated by this, and I think it's giving people a chance to kind of take a moment to think about what they really want and really get that motivation, whatever it is, that next step where they want to be. Because whenever we complete one goal, whenever we try and complete a milestone, there's always going to be another one that we're going to set, right? We don't just end at one goal. There's always going to be something to work on too. So just think about this as that this was kind of, you completed in part of your goal before COVID, and now we're going to have a new goal to set when we come back.
Well, I think to that note too, it's also important to realize, or to maybe just keep in mind, I can't remember who it was, but somebody had said, can I set up a cot in the gym and I just won't leave and I'll work out all the time. Keep in mind too, again, with giving yourself grace, with not coming back in 100%, I know many people, I know this is for me, like, that we're going to want to, like, I'm going to do 3 classes and I'm going to go run and I'm going to lift and I'm going to do all this every single day for, I'm going to jump start it back in. I'll tell you right now, don't do that. You'll burn yourself out, and like those first 2 weeks, especially, I think it's the first, would you agree with this? The first 2 weeks is like probably the worst. Like that's, especially when you start getting into a new routine, that is when you're the most sore, that's when you're going to feel it the most, and then you kind of hit that stride, hit that groove. And if you go and just like, I'm going to do all the things all day long, all the time, it's very easy to burn yourself out. So be careful of that as well, not to burn yourself out. But absolutely, like, reach for those goals, like, set those goals, take stock of where you're at and what you want to do. I think that was a great point.
Yeah. It takes, I believe it's 28 days to kind of form a habit a little bit. So even when we were doing this, the first few weeks of, our COVID isolation, we had to kind of figure out, test those waters, figure out what worked for us in home and, what we needed to do to find that balance and work schedule and things like that. So it's going to be the same thing when we go back, Take your time. We're gonna be here for you, whether it's it's gonna be still through social media, virtual stuff, and feel free to ask questions. And it's okay to just feel in general. And we'll kind of talk a little bit here. We're gonna talk about resilience up next, but something just being able to kind of take this as an opportunity to kind of learn about yourself. And there's been a lot of kind of takeaways I've personally taken away from this time as well. So resilience, our natural human instinct and how we respond to change is stress, no matter what. And that could be good stress, it could be bad stress, but there is that good kind of stress. And that is the key to building resilience. So resiliency is basically where you deal with life's ups and downs, which is now is a perfect time for us to talk about that. So life can be unpredictable. So when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves, right? Can you all agree with that you kind of had to change the way you do things a little bit during this time? So as we talked about earlier, COVID is something that's out of our control. We can't control this. So that's going to be a little bit of a stressor, but we can use this time to kind of bounce back and be happy, healthy, and help ourselves kind of feel successful again, because we can't always change the thing that life throws at us, but we can kind of find our own way around it. So how do we build resilience and how do we walk through that fire? So the first step is to acknowledge that it's not something that you have or you don't have. It's something that you learn, that you practice, and you build those skills upon. So find your purpose. So whether, what's kind of the meaning of it as far as, your family, your friends, career, spiritually. People tend to have a clear sense of purpose and are able to cope with life challenges better. They kind of find that meaning or that goal that drives them during this time. Embrace the change. The change is not always something, it's not always going to be easy, but it's part of life. So, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. But Carl, what's that thing you mentioned the other day about limes?
If life hands you limes, find somebody with ice and tequila and make a margarita.
Amen.
Who is that? So that can be how you release stress. You gotta do what's gonna be best for you. Be optimistic. So positive self-talk. We've got this. You guys have been killing it on these workouts through social media, these wellness challenges. We are so proud of you guys for working on you to help just better yourself. And add sticky notes in the mirror. I know that's kind of something you guys have heard before, but give yourself that positive self-talk through write a sticky note each night. Hey, wake up, get the day started. You got this. Whatever it is. go to your happy place and just be awesome, because you are. Be hopeful. So, look for the good things that you have in life. Something for me is, my parents. Like, I'm very fortunate to live in the same, city as them, and even though this time it's, in my mind, it's like, ooh, this could have been a good time to actually kind of connect with them more, but it's been hard because it's like you have a little bit more time to do things, but then it's like you can't go near them, and it's really it's challenging, but kind of socially distancing and being safe, and I've been able to see them and wearing a mask and staying just apart, but actually went over there yesterday. It was a little spontaneous. It was exciting because I'm such a planner, you know me. But they said they were going to do a fire, and I really wanted to, go and enjoy that time with them. And we sat far apart, and they mentioned just kind of we were like listening to music and watching some funny videos and stuff, and we started having a little bit of dance party, and it was fun. Like, it was hilarious but fun, and that's probably the hardest I've seen my dad laugh ever. And it was so good just to find the humor and just connect with them in a different level than I feel like we have a long time. So, just be hopeful and know that things are turning around. We're getting there. We're on, getting towards the end of that rainbow a little bit. And things are starting to open back up, but we just have to be safe and kind of turning into that, just kind of set realistic expectations. So, start small, identify the small things that you want to change. And take small steps to move toward them. But give yourself credit for every success that comes your way. Give yourself credit because you're worth it and you are killing it at this. Know when to let go. This has been a hard one for me. So, are you taking on too much? Are you kind of accept that you can't give 100% to everything all the time? You're only human. If it's too much, think about what you can let go or ask for help. So teamwork makes the dream work. So, knowing that you've got, wonderful coworkers, wonderful family members, partners, kids, just, acknowledge that sometimes it's okay to not get everything done, not to get the whole kitchen cleaned, or not to complete everything you wanted to, because there's a new day tomorrow, and you've got time, but know that you're not in this alone. Take action. So especially in a negative situation, help yourself feel powerful versus powerless. Add positives to your day. So for example, like yesterday, laughing. That was the amazing end of my day, and it made it the best day ever. Going for a walk when it's beautiful out. I know it's a little gloomy today, but if that sunshine comes along, go ahead and get outside and take action. Next one is connect with others. Having the support around you can make a big difference. So the Zoom sessions. I've asked a few people what their stress was during this time, doing some Zoom trainings, and a lot of people has just been just that routine of that change and what they can do with their time. But people have been able to find new outlets to handle their stress, whether it's reading a book, just being outside, or getting to do those things that you really do enjoy a little bit more. So Carl, I know we didn't really talk about this, but you've been setting up your backyard to kind of be a sanctuary, like a relaxation place to get away.
Yeah, well, I mean, for a couple reasons. Like, one is just our backyard was a project to begin with, just when we moved in 2 years ago, and so slowly we've been working on it. Obviously, here recently we've had a lot more time to work on it. And so part of that too, though, was the fact that we're in our house all day long for the most part. I know Sarah sits and she sits at our dining room table and does calls all day. And so part of what we want to do is going back to what you have control of and what you don't have control of. Like, don't have control of what anybody else does. Don't have control of what's going on in the world. But what we do have control of is we have control of our backyard. We have projects that we can complete and have done, and that's in a weird way, it's kind of a stress relief to be like, hey, we got this project done. It's also we had an issue when we were building our garden, which caused a little bit of stress. But now looking back, it's funny and we laugh about it. Sarah knows what I'm talking about. She's probably shaking her head right now. But so we were doing just that kind of stuff, being able to do those projects, complete those projects, and being able to look at that. I know for me personally, that's something that I really enjoy, and that's something that also is a great stress reliever for me. I went and got firewood, unloaded a bunch of firewood yesterday, and chopped it all up and had it stacked. And as goofy as that is, and as simple as that is, it's like, here's the stacked firewood. That's something that I was able to complete and do, and now we have it and we can enjoy it. We got to enjoy that last night, have a fire. Just
cutting the wood up, that would be stress relief.
Well, yeah, there was the
We'll
physical
aim her out,
aspect of it. Yeah, so just having that area where we can get out of the house, go back there on nice evenings, and just kind of get away and just like that was the perfect word for sanctuary. Just a place to go and relax and enjoy ourselves.
That's something I need to work on a little bit. I think that's awesome. Maintain your perspective. Kind of look at the bigger picture of things. Practice gratitude. What are you grateful for? Things you appreciate during this time. And look at this as an opportunity to learn something about yourself. So we're thriving, not just surviving. So something for me, I feel like I'm talking a lot about me today, guys. Sorry. But learn something about yourself. So I thought during this time that I was like, okay, we're gonna be working some from home, working some on site with certain things, but maybe I can take this as a time to kind of take a step back a little bit, not be so rushed, not be every minute on the hour. If you guys know me, I'm just a very routine person. And when we started, working from home, started these projects and responsibilities, I just caught myself still doing that, working kind of every minute on the hour, not really kind of utilizing the fact that I was at home. So I thought, like, ooh, I can go have lunch outside, enjoy the sunshine. And I just found myself wanting to knock things out, get things done, and really, get as much done as we could during this time. And I just really learned that that's just my personality, and I have just come to accept it. That I'm just the type of person that wants to work on things, wants to get do a good job, and wants kind of make things a little bit easier for everyone else. But I also have to learn going back up to knowing to let go that I'm not alone, and I have help from other people that are there for me, that are going to help make life a little easier. But just learning things about yourself through this time, I think it's been an interesting journey just to learn a little bit more about yourself, things that you value and that you appreciate. Carl, is there anything that you kind of learned about yourself during this time?
All kinds of things. I've been very happy with myself as far as put me on the spot.
Sorry,
I've been happy with just the fact that I feel like I've learned that I do. I'm not as adept to change as I thought I was. I used to think I was a pretty flexible individual. It's like, oh yeah, I can go with the flow and do whatever. I kind of like my routine. I kind of like what I do and how I do it. And if I set a plan, I like to be able to stick to it. And this has not really allowed for that. It's definitely had to be a little bit more flexible. So I kind of found that out about myself, that I needed to work on my flexibility as far as just, okay, you know what, you're not as flexible as you thought you were. So that's been eye-opening. That I've definitely learned about myself. At the same time, I feel like to go on positive notes that when I've had to, I've been able to adapt to the situations, but it's more about the attitude that you have, I think, too. Like, you may be able to do something, but what attitude do you have about it? Is it like a, fine, I'll do it because I have to, or is it a, awesome, I get to do this? Like, this is cool. I didn't know I could even do this. Like, I'm approaching it from that perspective, too.
Yeah,
is another
that's
thing.
great, because it's an opportunity for us to grow just in different ways that we didn't know that we could do that. But I did want to kind of shout out a few comments that we've had on our chat here. So we have some good mornings and hellos. I wanted to add that Becky added in here that something that kind of helps her as far as her routine kind of is having a set meeting time with her small group. So that's with myself, my mom, and Kathy, and we kind of do a Zoom training each week. And she said it's been a blessing. So thank you, Becky. But I know from some of them it's been a way to help kind of keep a schedule and kind of keep some control in their life and their routine right now. And so I appreciate that, and thank you guys for being there, hanging in there with me. But reach out to us. We're here for you guys, and we're trying to bring as much to you guys as we can through our virtual programming and in the kitchen, kind of giving you guys a variety. Do you have anything else you want to add there, Carl?
Just love you guys, miss you guys.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us. If you do have any questions or comments, please let us know. We're kind of in here about 60 seconds. But make sure that you do comment, like, or share this post right now, so that way you guys can be in that raffle for that express crock pot. We hope that you guys kind of found some tips as far as how to kind of deal with your stress during this time, or where there's things that if you are stressing about that maybe you can kind of let go if there's something that's out of your control, or what you can do to help yourself get a little stress relief, whatever that is. Going outside, taking a hot bath. I got this nice little candle here to kind of give us some relaxation scent as we were doing our chat this morning. But find some time for yourself, work on you, take some deep breaths, and we're in the long haul. We're getting there, and we will see you guys soon. Bye.